Hey, have you seen the video of the impostor being headed like a lost sheep, just going, just pack people to feel important. Tinubu doesn't realize that thing that he's looking for, that craving for attention, that craving for power, it's inside him. He can never get it because he lost so much. Somebody who has lost his identity have had to take other people's identity, have lived a lie. No matter what you try to crave around you, it's missing because it isn't inside of you. And then just seeing this whole it's just crazy, right? It's just really crazy. The entourage that they took to Dubai with all the suffering that is here when we're supposed to be cutting cost of governance, people that for some climate summit, people that are not supposed to be there, all sorts of, people's money being wasted, and then anyone. Anyway,
Should we touch on the amount of delegates that were at COP, because it's all over the news at this point. We have talked about the fact that, the Nigerian government should emphasize on reduction of spending.
Yeah.
We're taking a lot of stories about it on what's trending, and Nigerian people are saying that you have asked us to sacrifice.
It's not.
Adeswa, have you seen the list?
I have.
And those designations?
Yes, you have stewards,
what do you make?
special assistants, executive assistants, technical assistants, confidants, manager. These are the hundreds, in their hundreds. It's a show of shame. I think it's an absolute show of shame. It's kind of like we're becoming a caricature of ourselves. Like people were afraid that this was what was going to happen, that, there's government expenditure. We've talked about the size of our ministries and the amount of appointments that we're seeing. And to see this even exported overseas, it's embarrassing. I think it's absolutely embarrassing, and it's unbecoming, I think, of the president to allow himself to be part of this show.
Right. Sheito, have you seen any press statement from the government even trying to defend the fact that they have over 1,000?
They haven't defended it yet, but...
this has been trending for, almost a day and a half
yes.
now, 2 days?
I mean, the Nigeria's large delegation is coming at a time of economic difficulties, which is why I understand why Nigerians are groaning, about this. We're looking at, higher fuel prices, inflation, rising food, and then now this. I mean, I was doing my calculation because I was like, okay, 1,411 participants. And apart from the ones that could not squeeze themselves into the presidential jet, we're looking at about almost three plane loads of people that had to go. And there's no direct flight to the UAE now because of, the current, visa ban that we have. And when you look at that, it comes to a whopping $2,400 for a return ticket from Abuja to Dubai. Now, if you multiply that...
Is that economy seat?
I mean, excuse me, if you're going for the delegates, you can't fly economy. I mean, everybody can obviously fly, but that's...
that's business class?
Yes, that's business class, okay. And 1,160 for economy. Now, just for that number, we're looking at $2.78 million for flight ticket alone. We're not talking about, accommodation, feeding, all of those little things. So I agree with everyone. I think that's what just really worries me about it. If you like, be 2,000. But I think what it is at this point is, just to play the devil's advocate, is that there hasn't been an official statement saying that the federal government paid for everybody to be there. They're saying that there are some NGOs personal, like you said, confidence, maybe persons that said, okay, I just need to be there for my boss, so I'll spend my own money to be there on the list.
Okay,
yes.
So we'll wait for that press statement, because obviously this is a story that is not going to go away anytime soon.
hello everyone. I'm sure by now you've seen all the drama that has been going on over the fact that Chief Tinubu decided to waste Nigeria's money in such a manner of carrying so many delegates. Nigeria is the third third country, the third country after Dubai, of course, to have brought the largest amount of delegate, one of the poorest countries, always seeking for loans and yet spending so much. I think our delegates are just slightly behind that of China with its billions of people. In short, Canada, the citizens of Canada are there flogging their government for carrying 100 people to Dubai. So the list is made up of over 1,400 people, and there are all sorts of people, all manner of people. In short, you can't even begin to imagine the kind of people that are on that list that have gone on. And one of the things that comes to my mind is the fact that, look, yes, Dubai has sort of like, Nigeria is under a visa ban, so Nigerians are not given visas to go to UAE, United Arab Emirates. That's of course part of the places that Dubai is, and you know how much Nigerians love to visit Dubai and be there and do all sorts of things. I remember, I think it was it 2007, if I'm not mistaken, myself and my kids were on holidays in Dubai, and we had gone to a shop. We had gone to the shop, and then the person was like, he was so excited when he knew I was Nigerian. I was like, oh, Nigerians are his best customer. That the day before, maybe he had some Nigeria that had come in, had spent, was it like about $300 and something thousand? And not my man, I'm like, hey, wrong number. You don't meet that kind of Nigeria. You meet Nigeria that is working hard for her money, and it's not going to be spending money anyhow. You understand? So it was really exciting. He was telling us how much of how Nigerians spend, and I think was it a carpet shop? I can't even remember what shop it was now. At the end of the day, did I even buy anything in that shop? I'm not even sure. I carry myself. It don't be me, you go hype me, I go spend money where I don't work hard for. For me, I work too hard for my money to be spending it anywhere. Anyway, back to the discussion. So this whole list is made up of different things. So I'm looking at it and thinking that, okay, fine. This is first of all, one thing that it's worrisome is the fact that people can just find themselves on the list. People can just get themselves inside the list. First, there's no government in Nigeria. That's for sure. What we have is an illegality that is just there for its own personal self, and doesn't have any regard for the people or anything. By the way, you didn't vote him in. He found his way in there. So he has no regard for anyone. That is worrisome in a case that people can just get themselves in. Maybe probably this was an opportunity for a lot of people who have not been able to go to Dubai because of the Dubai visa ban. This is for them to...
Good evening to you, my dear brother, and good evening to all of our viewers.
Yeah. We've had Siemens a lot of the times. The meeting in Germany the other time, Siemens deal was part of it. President Buhari, the last administration, has struck a deal with Siemens the last time. But yet again, we're hearing another deal being signed and perfected between President Tinubu and the German Chancellor. Bring us up to speed what this means.
Thank you so much. So, of course, I was Senior Special Assistant to President Muhammadu Buhari on Public Affairs at the time when the Siemens agreement was being signed into effect. And effectively, that was a three-phase agreement that was intended to take Nigeria's generation, transmission, and distribution from the 4,000 megawatts where it was to 7,000 megawatts within 2 years, 11,000 megawatts within 4 years, and 25,000 megawatts within 6 to 7 years. Of course, there were two major reasons why that was not well implemented. One was obviously just a few months after the agreement was signed, there was a once-in-a-century global pandemic that obviously shut down manufacturing across Europe and around the world, had a major impact on supply chains, logistics, shipping, import-export flow facilitation, and all of those things that factored into the slowdown of the implementation of the Siemens agreement. That was 2 years gone. Then then obviously you also had a failed implementation on the part of some Nigerian officials who simply did not live up to the vision of President Muhammadu Buhari within the power sector. It's no secret that President Muhammadu Buhari did sack a minister of power during that time. These were some of the challenges without going too deep into the past. It's safe to say that it was not well implemented. It's safe to say that there were a lot of factors as to why it didn't work out. But we are forward-looking. We're not making excuses. Under the leadership of President Bola Tinubu, what has happened is that in the last within the last 2 to 3 months, the German Chancellor and the Nigerian President have met on 4 different occasions. First time was in September on the sidelines of the G20, which led to a state visit by German Chancellor Olaf Scholz to Abuja on October 29th. Which led to the participation of President Bola Tinubu at the Germany in November 20th. And of course, just 10 days later, we have a new agreement signed. Now, why is this important and how does this factor into the initial agreement? First of all, it's important to understand that this agreement is dealing solely with transmission. We recognize that today in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, we have power generation capacity of about 12,000 to 13,000 megawatts. What this agreement seeks to do is to ensure that we can effectively evacuate all of the generated power in the country across a transmission grid that is now going to be fully modernized and capable of transmitting all generated power in the country to homes and businesses and industries across the nation. So that is what this agreement deals with. Now, this agreement is the first phase of the other phases of the agreement. Now, this first phase is dealing with transmission. It is timed for 18 to 24 months. I want to be clear about this. 18 to 24 months. We expect that the transmission grid, based on this agreement, will now have end-to-end modernization with all Siemens supplied and inculcated products, meaning that they're not only going to supply the substations and the 11,000 kilometers worth of power lines, et cetera, but they're also going to be installing their infrastructure. So it's a
yeah. If I may jump in quickly, let me ask you. So what it then means is that Siemens will deliver to Nigeria an added 12,000 megawatts. Is that right?
No, this phase of the agreement does not add 12,000 megawatts that does not currently exist. That is not what it does. What it does is the current power generation capacity in Nigeria today, not yesterday, not tomorrow, today is 12,000 megawatts. We have the capacity to generate 12,000 megawatts in Nigeria today. The issue has been about stranded power and the inability of all value chains in the industry to support the full generation of power. Because in order to generate the 12,000 megawatts of power, what do power generation companies need? They need gas, right? So in order to buy gas, you have to have money. How do you make money as a power generation company? It's going to be from the sale of the power generated to the distribution companies through the transmission grid, right? Allowing them to pay the generation companies for generated power that they're supposed to be distributing into the homes and businesses of Nigerians. When they are not able to do so as a result of failing infrastructure in the transmission and distribution side of the industry, what that means is that the power generation companies don't have the funds they need to buy the gas they need to buy in order to get to the capacity that they're capable of getting to, which is 12 to 13,000 megawatts of power today. So now what this agreement does is it deals with the transmission grid. It basically says, look, the entire transmission grid nationwide is going to be totally modernized within 24 months, within the first term of President Bola Tinubu's administration, to say that we are finally going to be able to create an electric power industry in the country that will actually support the full mobilization of available power in the country to homes and businesses across the country, so that generation companies are able to make the money from distribution companies they need to make in order to purchase the amount of gas they need to purchase that will allow them to meet the capacity they're able to generate today.
Ajuri, let's break it down. Ajuri, let's break it down. Let's break it down. So in 24 months, that is in 2 years,
Yes.
What can Nigerians boast of in terms of what is delivered in the home? Just a straightforward one. How much of power will Nigerians be able to boast of in 24 and in 2 years?
Thank you very much. So now we're very specific about this. We are dealing with the transmission company of Nigeria, which is under government control still, right? It has not been privatized. Distribution companies have been privatized. What we are dealing with is the transmission grid. That is how to wheel the gas from the power generation companies to the distribution substations in the jurisdictions around the country so that it gets to homes and businesses. So to answer your question, what we are expecting within the next 2 years is a minimum of 7,000 megawatts that will be into the homes and businesses of Nigerians, as against the 4,000 to 5,000 megawatts that we've been getting consistently now for several years.
Almost double of that within the next 2 years. That is what is going to be guaranteed. So let me go further to ask you, what has exchanged hands in this deal? Are we giving to Siemens and Germany gas as part of the deal that was discussed in Germany the other time on the president's trip? Or what are we paying for this?
Thank you very much. So these are separate deals. Okay, so let me break this down very carefully for our people to understand. So just about 10 days ago, when President Bola Tinubu was in Berlin, he oversaw the signing of two major agreements. One was a gas export agreement, which effectively is going to massively reduce gas flaring in the Niger Delta by the construction of facilities that would take previously flared gas and transit and convert it into gas, liquefied natural gas and compressed natural gas exports to Germany, which they are already buying in advance of the production. Okay, so they've signed on to buy it in advance of the production and assist us with the development of the facilities that will lead to that gas export. That's agreement number one. The second agreement that Mr. President oversaw in Berlin 10 days ago was a $500 million agreement that deals with renewable energy projects across the length and breadth of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That has nothing to do with the Siemens program. It has nothing to do with the traditional grid. That has to do with solar power projects across rural hamlets with a special focus on agro-allied industries, with rural electrification, making sure that our farmers have access to power to provide mass refrigeration so that we can cut down on post-harvest losses. We want the food we're producing in the country to make it to the markets before they spoil. That is what mass refrigeration is going to do, but you need power to do that. And we believe the renewable energy agreement that's worth $500 million with Germany will go a long way to settling that problem. Now, the third agreement was signed tonight, just an hour ago, at which I was present, where essentially how the financing works with this is that we have the European Export Credit Agency, the German Export Credit Agency, essentially providing approximately 80 to 85% of the total funding. We provide 15% counterpart funding on a low interest credit facility. Their funding is brought on a low interest credit facility, right? Then we bring 15% of our budgeted resources to pay our counterpart fund. And then when you put that together, essentially that is what is financing Siemens to manufacture all of the infrastructure and then to bring it into the country and then install it into the country. So it's end-to-end turnkey. We're not dealing with middleman contractors, which is a big reason why the first iteration of the Siemens deal failed, was because certain special interests in the power sector wanted to get cute and basically try to bring in Nigerian contractors to try and issue contracts and all of that against the intention of President Muhammadu Buhari. Now what we're doing is we're doing end-to-end, meaning that only Siemens will produce the items, only Siemens will bring it in, and only Siemens will install it. So from end to end, Siemens is doing it. There will be no middleman contracting going on within this project, and that's why we're confident it's going to get done, and it's going to get done on time and in quality.
Oh, okay. We're hopeful, and we're hoping that this is going to be a big and a real deal for Nigerians, because if power is settled, if power is guaranteed, then we can know that production also will be better, and that means something for revenue for Nigeria. But let me ask you quickly, what are the things that we're hoping that the president will be engaged with and the benefits for Nigerians in Dubai?
Well, what we don't want to do is we don't want to preempt anything that has not yet been signed. But I can assure you that there are very serious investments that will be announced within the coming weeks as a result of the negotiations that are taking place right now, directly personally supervised by President Bola Tinubu and his counterparts here, not just in the United Arab Emirates, but also with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. There's going to be a lot coming, and we will announce it, and it will be open to Nigerians over the course of the next few weeks when it's ready to be signed.
What more can you tell us about the unfinished business between Nigeria and the United Arab Emirates in terms of immigration issues, in terms of aviation deals?
Absolutely. So I think the Minister of Aviation, Mr. Festus Keyamo, has already come out to say that they're part of the larger binational agreement has been essentially sealed. There will be an announcement on that coming up. But what is going on essentially between the two sides is we want to make sure that the deal is comprehensive. I think the initial idea was that it was going to be run in segments. So you deal with, for example, the visa ban at once. Then you deal with the other thing, maybe aviation second. Then you deal with, the liquidity agreement with the central bank and with the oil and gas sector separately. But what was agreed between the two parties after the initial meeting was that it would be part of a comprehensive binational agreement that is cross-sectoral. So they want to finish everything at once and then do a joint signing. And we, in recent days, it's no secret that the president of the United Arab Emirates sent a special envoy to President Bola Tinubu, where we hosted them in the State House. And we believe there will be, as a result of that, a follow-up that will lead to the conclusion of these agreements. So we're asking Nigerians to just please be patient with us.
When should we be looking forward to President speaking at the summit?
Well, I believe that what the president's focus on is now is ensuring that these negotiations that bring direct benefit to the Federal Republic of Nigeria are concluded, and that is where his focus is at this time.
Ajuri, let me allow you to run quickly to some other businesses you told me that you need to catch up on, and I'll release you quickly now. Thank you so much indeed for your time tonight.